Welcome everyone, I'm Enter the Hero, fully enjoyed by Pink, and this is the Shut Your Mouth Lounge episode 245, I believe. I had,
245?
I had to take a second there, because I was like, I remember a lot of fours. and, and then I was like, 445? No, it can't be. Not yet.
We casually skipped 200 episodes.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, Pink, is anything coming out on your channel?
Yes. This week there will be plenty of Dead by Daylight content coming out on the channel. And nothing else. Should be all Dead by Daylight.
Alright. Well, as for me, well, I wasn't supposed to be doing anything, and then 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I forget. I think it was 2. I did something that's out of my comfort zone, actually.
Ooh.
So, Pink, complete non sequitur or whatever it's called. Have you ever watched YouTube poops? Like a lot of them.
You've shown me some in the past, but aside from that, I've never gone out of my way to watch any myself.
I don't even know which ones I would have sent to you, but yeah,
I don't either.
I believe it.
But I know you did at one point or another because you were talking about them and I had no idea what you were talking about.
But yeah, so I was watching a trailer for a game, and something possessed me. So
Oh no.
I proceeded to make my first YouTube poop.
Nice.
It only took me like, I don't know, like 3 hours. I was up like this was, I watched the trailer at midnight, by the way. So I was up until like fucking 4 a.m. But hey. But yeah, that's one of those things where like usually when I talk about stuff like this with W, he's like, well, you know what's quality. You have a good eye for quality, so you can tell. I can't, but not in this instance, because like I do watch YouTube poop a good bit, but at the same time I watch people who have been doing it for like 12 plus years, so the quality between someone who's starting out and someone who has years of experience is paramount.
A little bit.
There's also the thing of even someone's editing style can be like, because YouTube poops are made by people's editing styles pretty much, and there are like genre-wide jokes and stuff like that, but at the same time a lot of it is influenced by what the person making it finds funny and how they edit stuff. So like the people I watch and the poops that I enjoy tend to be focused, on sentence mixing and stuff like that, rather than ear rape or flashing colors or just inserting other material into a separate video, stuff like that. So most of what I did was sentence mixing, and like it's one of those things where like like I watched the video, I want to say like 10 times since I've made it, not because it's that good, but because I need to make sure that it's not shit. And and like the first couple of times, like I was actually cackling to myself while making it, but now I don't know if it's funny anymore. And I don't know if it is just because it's I don't know if it's because it's actually not funny, or if it's just because I've watched the video 10 times in 2 days.
Right.
So yeah, I might have to send it to you all so you can judge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then yeah, that's about it. Because otherwise, my TV is still not fixed. It's still awaiting transport, so it can go back to the place where they fix it. And then I can actually start working on like serious videos. Although recently, a guy that I've been following for 10 plus years who does reviews, he's like genuinely, I think the only guy left who I watch for video game reviews. But yeah, so he's made a video about how he does stuff, and there were things that he talked about in that video where he points out very obvious stuff that I already knew, but I didn't know about how you go about it, because there's many ways to go about things. Like, for example, while playing a game, if you want to make reviews of a game, you need to write notes. The way I play video games is very against the idea of taking notes. So yeah. So thus far I haven't, but it has been a thing that I've been thinking about starting myself. But it would make making videos easier. But it's one of those things where I will need to change how I play games and how I record games to accommodate actually being able to take notes and
Yeah.
stuff like this. And also, like, there's stuff they point out, like, it's good to color code your script so you know what you're supposed to do. It's you don't need to put in state fucking what you call it stage directions. You can just color code
Yeah.
and the stage directions are in your head as long as you're the only one working on the video.
Yeah.
Which, like, up until now, I did make stage directions that I would then not revisit. so that because, like, usually if I remembered what the stage, or rather if I got to that point in the video, I remembered what the stage directions were, or if I didn't, then they didn't matter anyway. So
Ah.
yeah, but that did get me thinking about how I want to approach reviews in the future, because you know I've talked about how I want to change how I review and how I'm unsatisfied with the way I have done it in the past, but
Yeah.
actually taking steps towards improving and stuff like that, and finally trying to decide if I want to be a proper critic, or if I want a more comedic style of presentation or whatever, is an important ask, because if I want to be a serious critic, well then that means that I need to fall into a scheme for reviewing everything. Everything needs to be the same, which is what it was when I before now.
Right.
But if I want to put more humor into it, which, I mean, these videos are, or my reviews are meant to be entertaining for the most part, then
Yeah.
I kind of have to give up on trying to actually present a serious opinion, because who gives a fuck? Like, like, people won't go to the fucking guy in clown makeup to get like Roger Ebert, or whoever, I forget his name. Roger Ebert didn't like publish his books with a clown makeup on. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Although it would have been funny.
Like a clown.
Yeah. So that's for me, and then for the group channel, we have Spider-Man. I believe we
Excellent.
still have Armello. We have Stray. We have Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and that may be it. I think. Oh, multiverses. There's also multiverses.
Ah.
But yeah, that's all of the stuff coming out this week. I don't know when. They're on their usual days. Like, usually when I schedule stuff, things are bound to come out on the same day every week, because
Yeah.
that's just like proper scheduling.
Yeah.
You expect the thing to be there on fucking 12 Eastern on Saturday, and it's gonna be on 12 Eastern Saturday, where it should be. Because if it's not, then your trust is broken as a consumer, or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Trust is broken. It's shattered. It will
Yeah.
never recover.
I mean, like, going at it from a like a very sterile like TV channel point of view, yeah. Like, that would be the words used to actually sell the idea of having things in the right time zones, or whatever, the right
Yep.
whatever's for a TV
Hmm.
channel. We're just not a TV channel.
This is
So
true. We're like one of those on-demand channels.
yeah, we're HBO.
Exactly.
We are currently on fire. Help. So yeah, that's for what's coming out on the channels. What did you do this week? Think.
What did I do this week? Not a lot, honestly, because I was locked into one corridor of the house because we were doing construction work. So I didn't have a lot of access to anything. What I did do, that was brand spanking new. I watched the third episode of She-Hulk. Haven't seen the second, so I've kind of gone and watched the first episode, skipped the second, then watch the third, because, that's what normal people do, right?
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely. I actually really enjoyed this episode. The first one had a lot of major issues with it. I still enjoyed it for the most part, but if they would have started the series at episode three, I think that would have been the better play, honestly. I don't know what happens in episode two, but I don't feel like I missed anything by skipping out on it. But episode three was actually rather fun and had a quote unquote coherent plot. Because episode one was just kind of the foundational episode, which I don't think it did a good job of servicing what you should expect going forward. Of all the MCU shows, a lot of them kind of go in a way of trying to mimic the actual cinematic movies in a television form. So, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, the first episode of that feels like the first 30 minutes of an MCU film, or 15 rather, because MCU films are like 2 hours on standard. But yeah, it sets the foundation of here are all your characters, here's what's going to happen throughout the series. Buckle up because we got 6, 7 episodes to go, etc. With She-Hulk episode one, it was kind of in the opposite direction where it doesn't feel like the start of an MCU film. It felt like a pilot, like a first draft for a film series, a concept that they really wanted to get off the ground. So, and it wasn't bad. There were just a lot of issues with it from like the writing standpoint, the editing standpoint, the cinematography standpoint. Because there's literally a scene in episode one where it's Bruce Banner. He's talking with Jen about the struggles of being able to change into and out of the Hulk form at will. But as they're doing their kind of 80s montage of training, it's like Jen is normal Jen in some of the scenes, and then She Hulk Jen in the other scenes. And it's like, you can't tell me that Hulk is trying to teach Jen how to control both sides, or how to rather not be the She Hulk form, when within less than 30 seconds you've already shown me that Jen can already go back and forth with no issue. You can't tell me it's an issue, but then show me that it's not an issue. That doesn't work like that. So yeah, episode one kind of flopped in multiple regards, but episode three, I thought it was very strong, very good episode. Not like any of the MCU shows prior. This feels like it feels like a show that is intended to be a show. It doesn't feel like they're mimicking the film, the movie type of um what's it called? The type of formula. They're not going in a movie type formula.
Yeah,
So that's both good and bad depending on how they play things from here. But I honestly really enjoyed episode three. Thought it was a massive step in the right direction, and I have no idea how many episodes this series has. So maybe this will be the peak, and that would be unfortunate. But I hope it continues to improve and go in the direction that episode three went, because it's very fun. And if they were to this is honestly the first MCU show where it feels like you could get more than one season out of it. So if they were to choose to go in that route, that would be great. I think that would be spectacular, because that's something they can't really do with Falcon Winter Soldier or Moon Knight. Or if they did, it wouldn't feel like a coherent television show. It would feel like, okay, here's the next movie in show form. Let's go.
yeah,
So yeah, really just see what comes down the pipeline in the future. Uh, really interesting time in MCU history. Very excited to see where it goes. Hopefully, everything progresses for the better and not for the worse. Outside of She-Hulk, I know I watched something else. Oh god, what did they watch? I'm drawing a blank. All I can remember is that we watched Psych, like the first 4 seasons, because we were trapped on that side of the house for so long and had nothing to do. Um, Let's skim over to Dead by Daylight real quick because the Project W chapter came out. This DLC includes Wesker from the Resident Evil series, as well as Rebecca and Ada Wong from the Resident Evil series. I know of Wesker. I know a little bit of Ada. I have no idea who Rebecca is. Have you ever played a Resident Evil game?
I believe Rebecca is the daughter of the president that Leon is saving in Resident Evil 4.
No, that's Ashley.
You're right. All right, let me see a picture of Rebecca and then see if I remember her.
All right.
I like
Because
how I
legit,
like how I'm searching up Resident Rebecca Resident Evil and the first thing that comes up Death Rebecca Chambers. I've heard of her. Isn't she from fucking Origins?
let's see. What does the wiki say?
Yeah, I'm looking at the wiki as well.
Introduced as a supporting character in the original Resident Evil, became player character of the prequel game Resident Evil Zero.
Ah, that's the one I was thinking of.
I don't think I've ever heard of a Resident Evil Zero. Let me Google that. Do. Resident Evil Zero came out in 2002. That was a long ass time ago. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
For the GameCube,
yeah.
and only for the GameCube. Why have I never heard about this game?
I think Resident Evil Zero is the one where you're on the train. That's all I remember.
This little promo piece, the background is a subway or train type thing, so that's probably accurate.
So yeah, in which case I think you can only carry like two items at a time, and you need to drop down shit in the train to to actually carry stuff.
Ew.
Yeah,
What are these reviews? It's got a 9 out of 10 on a Steam and then a 6.5 out of 10 on IGN. Interesting. I guess the port several decades later on Steam was better than the original on GameCube.
I know. You see,
Guess
the people who played on GameCube grew up by the time they released on Steam. So
yeah, I see where you're going there. And that's not entirely inaccurate. Oh, there's a people also ask tab down here, and then it says, "Is Resident Evil Zero a good game?" Like that's a question you'd find on the internet.
and then you
Is Evil Zero important? That's
you open up
another good question.
you open up the thing that question. It just says no to both of those.
Yeah. Hang on one second.
All right. But yeah, Resident Evil is a weird series for to me because like I know some stuff, some parts of it because it is one of the classic like survival horror series. At the same time, I don't think I've liked any one of them particularly, and it's probably just because of zombies. If I didn't if I wasn't so eternally tired of zombies, I might enjoy Resident Evil. But since I am, I can't. And that's kind of like one of the big things about Resident Evil, how well it handles zombie horror or whatever zombie fiction, which is kind of a problem for the series, at least when it comes to me. But yeah,
And we're back. Yes, with the Resident Evil Zero. Uh, I had never heard of, and I guess you had sort of heard of before, maybe.
yeah, I've seen it at least once.
Yeah. And oh, I was talking about Dead by Daylight because of those two. Yes. So I'd never heard of Rebecca, but she's got some cool, nifty little perks that were fun to use. I really liked the character design or gameplay design of Wesker because I thought the animators did a good job of making him feel not like you're just playing a typical killer. The kind of flair he carries, the they do a good job of conveying emotion through the very limited first person view. So they do a lot with his hands. They do a lot character wise with what the survivor sees as well. So like when he pulls a survivor out of the locker, he'll shake his finger at them like, "No, you're not getting away with that." Or when he does uses his power to fling him across the map or slam him into walls, it's got a very powerful indication of it doesn't feel like you're facing a slasher villain. It feels like you're facing the final boss. So I thought that was a very, very cool touch that they had with him to where, yeah, you're playing Dead by Daylight, but they made him feel in a way like he's not just some stereotypical slasher villain or anything. It's he is the final boss, quote unquote. So I thought they did a very good job with their design around him,
Yeah,
and very fun character play, very fun character to face off against. I really enjoyed this chapter. I was very, very pleasantly surprised because yeah, they I like Wesker and they made him really a stellar standout part of the cast. So I was happy.
nice. Although the secondary win condition for the killer, where the killer wins even if you don't kill any of the survivors, you only induce complete global lactation, was kind of weird.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that one. And I actually remembered what movie we watched when we were in quarantine, quote unquote.
Ah,
We watched The Karate Kid, which I've obviously seen that before. I think you've seen it before. I feel
I
like Alex
haven't.
hasn't though.
I've
Oh, you haven't?
I've seen parts of it.
Uh
I
yeah.
saw the remake.
Oh no, with Jackie Chan?
Yeah,
Oh no.
I saw the
And
remake because of Jackie Chan. Yes,
yeah, yeah, and Jaden Smith is the one.
yeah,
I like Jackie Chan.
and the main team sung by Jaden Smith and Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber?
Yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. Never Say Never was the title, I think, of the song.
I feel like I remember that. It just had been buried in my brain from trauma.
Yeah,
Oh no, I'm gonna have to go research that later. That's terrible.
like you'll fucking you'll draw a pentagram on the ground with chalk, and then like you'll say the magic words, and the song will just start bursting out of the pentagram.
Oh no. Yeah, it sounds accurate though. But yeah, I like Karate Kid. I think it's a very good 80s film. Which actually reminds me that they've got a new season of Cobra Kai coming out this month, so I'm hyped for that. Uh yeah, but aside from all of that stuff, there really wasn't anything that I did this week or that I could do this week because again, I was trapped in the side of the house as the other side was under construction. So it wasn't fun. It was like 2 weeks of that, I think. So it kind of sucked.
Yeah,
But
I'd
I'm free
imagine.
now. Yeah.
You've been gifted a sock. You're a free elf now.
I'm a free elf.
Uh, you haven't even seen Harry Potter, so that makes no sense to you.
No,
I
but
just
it's
remembered.
funny either way.
I'm gonna explain the joke to you because it's funny. Like there's a different part that's funny if you know the context. So in Harry Potter, there are these beings called house elves who are who serve magicians, and they become free if you give them socks specifically. The funny thing here is that uh the slavery is fine because they like it. You see,
Oh yeah. That sounds uncomfortable for the modern age.
yeah. Like
I
that
refuse to believe they like it when people have socks go missing every day. That's the elves trying to escape.
yeah. Like from what I understand, the elves are supposedly a lot more powerful than the human wizards that they're serving. But once again, the justification of the writer was they like it, so it's fine. The slavery.
No, no, it's fine. Trust us. Trust us. They like it. They
Yeah.
enjoy it.
But yeah, like a lot of shit came out about J.K. Rowling. Turns out she wasn't just kidding. Sadly.
Womp womp.
Like she wrote a book apparently under a male pseudonym about how she's how she was what should we call it, like how she's the victim of hate for being or being transphobic, which that's a stand, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. So as for my week, well, as for drawing, because I think that that's gonna be over faster than what I played, even though I haven't played a whole lot this week either. But whatever. Uh, let's see. Well, there is a thing that I posted earlier in the week in the logo step. I think that's a poster for the Halloween special this year.
In logos?
Yeah. So I
Oh
did
yeah,
that.
I did see that.
Yeah, I feel like I could have done better with Sonic's face, but at the same time, he is supposed to be fucked up. So it's a thing of like, I could have done a better job. At the same time, it kind of works with it that it's bad.
Yeah.
Half the reason I made that thing is because I need to practice backgrounds. Like I've made the decision not to go to the art school yet because I expect them to actually like want a portfolio and stuff. Because they did say that you should have a prior art experience, you know,
Right.
which makes
Yeah.
sense. So basically, want to spend the next year building up a portfolio that I can actually like show to people, and then hopefully also learn how to make backgrounds in the meantime, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did that. Then I also did uh something that was inevitable.
Inevitable.
Yeah, just need to find it. There it is. Guess I'll put this there as well. I don't know.
Might as well. I'm already in the tab.
Yeah, but yeah. So I made that,
That is beautiful.
isn't it? And that might genuinely be all I've drawn. Yeah, that is
All
it.
right.
But yeah, my favorite part of the Danzaburo drawing is that I tactically positioned one of his speech bubbles so you can't see the bad arm. But yeah, then let's see what I've played. So I've played a game called Esther Breed, or is it Esther? No, it's Esther. I mean, it doesn't make a difference. I'm just, one of these ways I'm pronouncing it is the fucking US pronunciation, and the other one is the UK one, kind of. But anyway, so yeah, Esther Breed. I played that game. It's an arcade shoot 'em up that's weird because being a shoot 'em up made after 1999, it has a greater control over the camera. As in, it's not a horizontal shooter, it's not a vertical shooter. It can be both and neither because
Mm.
the camera, like because the game is in a 3D space, the camera can swirl around the characters and the environment, which makes it so they can choose which type of shooter you're playing at any point in time. Sometimes you're playing a horizontal shoot 'em up. Sometimes you're playing a vertical shoot 'em up. Sometimes you're playing something like Space Harrier, and sometimes it's kind of just like at a 3/4 angle. And it looks weird because it's hard to gauge depth when there's no like when everything is at a 3/4 angle.
Yeah.
Like that's why people draw with that point of view, by the way, because it's harder to gauge fucking depth, so it's easier to shade depth. But anyway,
Absolutely.
So yeah, I played that. It's very much an arcade game, but it was an interesting thing to me because they pretty much did nothing but just port the arcade game to console and PC, and that's not something that I would have expected them to do, but they kind of did that, and it works for it in a way. Now, one thing that I do feel like I need to point out about the game is that it's not particularly hard, except for the last level, which I'm unable to complete. I don't know how I don't know how that happens. I breezed through most of the other levels. I went all the way through the game without dying, and then the last level is just a fucking large difficulty spike, and I don't know why. Like I don't know if I'm fucking up or if the game actually has a difficulty spike there, and if it does, I don't know why it. Well, I know why it would, but the game also like the ports, the home ports also feature a difficulty selection, and they don't really make a difference. Like you don't really die any harder on easy than you do on normal. And it's not like the enemies have much lower health in easy than you do in normal. So I don't get it. But yeah, other than that, uh, the story, because there is actually a big story. Well, as big a story as you can get in a game that can be completed in like 2 hours, probably
Yeah.
less. But they tried to do a story. It's all right. Like it's very anime, and like it's one of those things where like if the game had more chances to develop the characters or stuff like that, I would probably care more about them. But because it doesn't have a lot of chances to develop them aside from the couple of cutscenes that are between levels, I don't care about the characters, and so I don't care about the story. Like they do tell you information that should matter, because it's like, hey, aliens are attacking Earth. They've already taken over fucking like humans as other settlements on other planets and stuff like that. And Earth is the last bastion, but they're also going towards it. And if they attack Earth, then Earth falls, and all of this dumb bullshit. I don't care. Like the game didn't give me a reason to care. And like this is a thing that W doesn't seem to understand. Is that like it because he says that I prefer the narrative to the gameplay of video games, and I mean, in a sense, I suppose, but it's a thing of like I don't think either can work without the other, without the other being sufficient enough to at least pass a low bar. So like the game, like if you give me a game that's purely gameplay, that I won't really enjoy it as much if there was a reason to actually like care about what's going on in the gameplay. Similarly, if you give me nothing but story, I won't care. Like the Last of Us is a funny game to play because of this, because The Last of Us really wants to be a movie. It does not like being a game.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
and so just taking whatever small amount of agency I have as the player and just trying to go out of my way to ruin the game's fun is what gives me fun from the game. Like I spent, I want to say like 30 minutes dragging a corpse. You can't drag corpses in the game, by the way. Like I spent 30 minutes dragging a corpse from one end of a piece of map to the other because the game doesn't want me to. Pretty much, like it was funny to fucking do a bit with it because the game doesn't like video gamey bullshit like that. And like this the because of this whole thing, I like games that are at least fine in both regards. Like, or at least I tend to prefer games that are at least fine in both regards, because then there may be some story for me to care about, and there may be some gameplay for me to actually enjoy. But without the other, the both of them feel kind of underdeveloped.
Yeah.
Which I guess might be the reason I don't really enjoy RPGs. Because RPGs tend to have very good story, and usually they're turn based, which means that they don't really have gameplay a whole lot. But yeah,
That is true.
then I played Absolver again. Now you will remember Absolver from that one time you tried to play it and it turned out it's region locked.
I remember the name. I don't remember specifically which one Absolver is.
It's the game with the masks. Like your character wears a mask and you go around and
Oh, did we try to do multiplayer with that one?
yes.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about now.
Yeah, so I played that game again because I don't know, time is not of the essence anymore. I can actually like try playing the game without being like, hey, so how do I join my friends? And then turns out I don't because I have the audacity of being in Europe.
Right? How dare you?
But yeah, so I gave it another chance, and boy howdy, does Absolver really want to be Souls 2? Like it's very very inspired by Souls, not in the fighting system. I mean, in that too a bit, but not an overwhelming amount. It's not a Souls clone. It's not a Souls like in that sense. Although like stamina is a big part of it, and Souls is kind of the thing that revitalized usage of stamina in video games, and I fucking hate it for it. But
Yeah.
but aside from that, like the gameplay systems are very different. The reason that I'm saying that Absolver really wants to be Souls is because the way they convey the story is very vague, and it's basically just one cutscene at the start of the game, which is very Souls. And also, there is nothing to help you with where you're supposed to go. Sometimes people tell you vague directions, or like you will see a map, but otherwise, you don't really know what you're doing or where you are, which is also very Souls. Here's the difference. Now that I've played through Bloodborne, I can actually point out differences like this. Here's the difference between Souls games, or proper FromSoft Souls games, and Absolver. The level design in Souls, I didn't never really felt like I was lost. I didn't know where the fuck I am, but I'm like, well, the levels were designed specifically in a way that will lead me to the boss eventually, and they were. Like there was never a time where I legitimately got lost anywhere, even in the fucking forest, where everything looks the same.
Yeah.
Like even though I didn't know where I'm going, I was making progress. Absolver, on the other hand, tries to mimic this and fails. So, a big problem with Absolver is that seemingly there's ways and passages that they expect you to go through without actually pointing at them, which is a problem, or which was a problem for me because I found one of the bosses, and I had to go through this jump to get to the boss. Okay, cool. I go and do the jump. I lose some of my health because fall damage. I make my way down to the boss. I fight the boss, beat it, and I don't know how to leave. I'm locked in there now, and there's no ways out. Like I can go back up to the point where I jumped down from, but I had to make a different jump to get down there, so I can't go back the way I came. And in Souls games, they would do game level design like this, but then one of the other paths, like there would be paths outside of the boss arena, and one of the paths would lead somewhere where you can join back into the wider world. I went through all of the paths in Absolver, and I didn't notice any fucking way to leave the boss arena. I spent 20 minutes trying to find a way out.
Incredible.
So yeah, after that I uninstalled Absolver because fuck it. Like, it's they're learning the moves of the enemies is an interesting gimmick and all that, but like I don't enjoy the idea enough to actually like fucking put up with it, and I haven't even learned one move because you need to block them multiple times until or before you actually learn them.
Mm.
So it's kind of like it's an RNG thing of, okay, so this character has like 3 moves. Are they going to do the move that or are they going to do the move that you want to know, or are they going to do the 2 moves that you already know?
Yeah.
And then also
Yeah.
blocking is on stamina, or otherwise you can parry, which also uses stamina but not as much. But
Disgusting.
parrying is also something that you have to do off of read. You can do it off of reaction really, aside from a couple of moves. So it's a thing of like, okay, so let me fight this one guy for 40 minutes and hope that he does the moves that I need him to, so I can actually like have moves. which is more commitment to a game that I don't know if I'll enjoy than I'm willing to give.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I you know I went into this podcast going, okay, well, before W told us that he's not gonna be free, I was like, okay, well, W would probably enjoy this game, and then I went, wait, remember Eddie? Why did you uninstall the game? Like, he would enjoy parts of it, definitely, but I don't think he could justify the level design either,
hmm
because like that's one of the things that he brings up, that Souls has good level design, and it does. Like, this is, I guess Souls is now added to my list of games where I will reluctantly give it credit because it deserves it, you know. But it deserves some of it, at least. But like, the level design is actually good in Souls because, once again, even though routes usually loop back around into places you've already been or stuff like that, well, that's a place you've already been. You know which way you can go. Or alternatively, if you die and the save spot was near to the other place, you know which way to go to cut down your travel length, whatever travel time. And if you don't know where it's going, then there's clues in the environment, or rather, there's enough design similarities between between different parts of the world, that if you notice the design similarity, the design aspect of one part of the game, you can then just put that next to another part of the game and know what's coming up. Like Souls usually has let's say for example, in Souls like games, if you see a chest and it's in a room and there's nothing in the room, something is in the room. Like, if there's no enemy that you can see, there is an enemy on the ceiling, and they will jump on you, because like they're not giving you a chest for free. And in fact, like, this is a thing that I learned with Neo, because Neo loved putting motherfuckers on roofs and making them jump on you. And then while playing through Bloodborne, multiple times I was like, this chest is not free, and then I walked up to the chest and got the shit out of it, and then left because the chest was free. And I was surprised that they actually, like, they didn't take the chance to be an asshole, because I'm kind of just used to them. Like, I'm used to Souls like developers being assholes to the player for no apparent reason, really, just because it's funny, I guess.
Yeah.
But according to W, Bloodborne is one of the best games about not just making you about not letting enemies ambush you for no reason. Like, if people ambush you, then you could have seen them coming, in theory at least.
Oh.
So yeah. So anyway, that's Absolver. Then I also played Electronic Superjoy. And
What in the world is that?
Electronic Superjoy is an indie platformer. That's it's not really a rhythm game because you don't need to do shit on rhythm, but the music is a big focus of it, and it has an electronic backing track, as you would imagine from the title.
Yeah.
Now, there's a very real reason why I decided not to continue with this game, because I'm usually fine with platformers. Like, I tend to like 2D platformers and stuff like that. Every time you die, or every time you reach a checkpoint, or every time you need to reload to a checkpoint, sex noises play, and I could not figure out a reason why that would be a thing.
I'm not sure.
And it just made me uncomfortable, so I uninstalled the game. Like, I don't, like, I think it's supposed to be funny, but like, I don't need, when I, like, imagine this, Pink. You're playing Mario. You're playing Mario World. You reach one of the flagpoles that signify the middle of a level. You go into the flagpole, and then a woman moans, "Oh yeah,"
Kinky,
and then that's
but
this.
also unnerving.
That's kind of this game. And also imagine this. Also imagine when Mario falls into a death pit. Instead of the fucking trumpet playing, it's the same woman going, "Oh yeah."
Oh no.
Yeah. Also replace the fucking Mario World teams with electronic music, which like I can be fine with electronic music, but not the kind that was included in the game. Or I don't know how to say it because like I don't hate the type of music that's in the game. It's just not the sort of music that I would listen to otherwise. So you
Yeah.
know, but yeah, that's pretty much it for that game. Then I also played a bit of Child of Light. Have you heard of Child of Light, Pink?
It sounds semi-familiar.
So Child of Light is a Ubisoft game made by Ubisoft Montreal that was published in, I want to say, like 2011 or so. Like it's a fairly old game.
Okay.
But yeah, so Child of Light is, well, okay. I need to give you the expectations that I had going in, because that there was a funny switch with that. So I looked at that game and I was like, okay, so artsy Metroidvania, because it looks like an artsy Metroidvania, and the level design is kind of Metroidvania-ish. So far, anyway. It is artsy. Like that, it was literally in Ubisoft's art block that they used to have, that they don't have anymore, because who needs to care about quality or effort anymore?
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was in their art block to try and make games that aren't just Assassin's Creed and Far Cry.
I
And
see.
well, once again, I look at it and I go, okay, so artsy Metroidvania. Well, I don't like Metroidvanias particularly, but I also don't particularly hate them. So I could see myself enjoying this, and it is like one of the uh couple like modern-ish Ubisoft games that I haven't played. So whatever, I'll give it a go. All right, game starts up. Go through the introduction. Also, everybody fucking rhymes in this game. I don't know why, but all dialogue is written in rhymes.
Ew.
I mean, actually, I think that the reason for that is because they're trying to invoke like a nursery rhyme, fucking fairy tale sort of thing with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I boot the game up, go through the introduction that felt like it took for 4 hours, and I get into the first combat. The game is a turn-based RPG.
Interesting.
Yeah, like the combat mechanic at least is a turn-based RP or a turn-based combat mechanic, and there are RPG elements to the game, and it's also a 2D platformer, kind of.
All right then.
So it's kind of weird. The game is,
Yeah.
and once again, it's one of those things where like I sort of care about the world, but not really. Like they haven't given me a reason to care yet, and I don't know if I'm supposed to have gotten a reason to care yet. But other than that, like it is an interesting thing to see how it works out, because there's many interesting gimmicks in this game, and that's like it's weird to say hey, Ubisoft did a thing that actually has an interesting idea in this day and age.
Yeah.
But so the interesting gimmick of the game is that your character has a sidekick who is a firefly, and you control the sidekick with the right stick whenever, and that's a gameplay mechanic even in fights.
Ooh.
And one of the things that this firefly can do is increase the way that it glows, and that scares the monsters, making them cower. So if you don't want to do random encounters, you can make them. You can just put fear into them and then walk past them. Alternatively, in battles, you can shine the light on people to make them miss their turn, or at least get to their turn slower. Which you think that would be that would not be beneficial to you, because whatever. But there's no set turn order. There's a counter at the bottom of the screen, and if you and both you and the enemies are going towards the part where they can act, pretty much on the counter. And when you shine the light on them, their portrait moves slower.
Mm.
Now this would be broken, but there's also a limit to how much you can use this. which is that there's a meter that runs out the more you use it in a battle, or just in general, I think actually. And there are a couple of refills on the screen that you can pick up with it, but it's still a thing of like, well, once the refills are gone, then you're out of slowing people down again. So yeah, kind of interesting game actually.
Yeah.
And then I've also played Trials of Mana. So Trials of Mana. Oh well, actually, I need to point out I played the remake, not the original, because Trials of Mana was an SNES game that was that's sort of like a sister series to Final Fantasy. Well, not Trials of Mana, but the Mana series, I think specifically.
Yeah.
And Trials of Mana is a remake of the SNES game with Square's modern day things, which is to say that the game is no longer a turn-based RPG. It is in fact an action game, or as close to an action game that Square can get, I guess.
Yeah.
And there's weird things with it. So I don't know if you were here for that, but there's this game I talked about a while back called Shiness: The Lightning Kingdom.
Yeah.
So Shiness: The Lightning Kingdom plays very similarly to this. Like it's very fucking close, and it's kind of funny considering Shiness is just furry Final Fantasy VII, or at least wanted to be.
I see.
But yeah, like the combo system, because they have combos because action game. The combo system is
Uh-huh.
very limited. I wish they had more moves because it's literally just like the combos are just press square X amount of times, press triangle at the end. That's it. That's all of your combos.
I like it.
And like people can have that, or people have dash attacks or whatever. Not dash attacks because that's what they would call running attacks. I think they have those too, but they have dodge attacks and stuff like that. But it's not enough. Like there's not enough difference in what you can use in standing combat in CQC, because once you like everything also has a specific that like fucking, I don't know the word, shit, whatever. So everything has a specific purpose. So like if you do just one normal attack and then a heavy, which is square triangle, that's a get off me button. If you do two normals and one heavy, that's an AOE. And then the more your character levels up, the more square you can press until before you press triangle to get a slightly different way to get people to get off of you. But that's pretty much it. Otherwise, you can just keep mashing square, and it doesn't do a whole lot. But hey, it's combat.
Combat, yeah.
Which, by the way, I feel like I need to point out. I downloaded the remake because I thought it was a turn-based RPG, and I wanted to play a turn-based RPG. So
Ha!
yeah, the remake also has voice acting. It's not great overall, but Square Square doesn't want to give money to anything not called Final Fantasy, and even that they're like, this again.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But yeah, so that let's see the characters. At the start of the game, you can choose to make up your team of 3 from 6 characters, and then you get to actually learn about them as you find them on your quest. So I chose the rogue because I usually play rogues. I chose the punch boy because whatever. Like I guess I need a DPS, and I also chose the little. There's a little girl who's a healer mage, and I looked at her and I went, you know what? You will be your tank.
How'd that work out?
So, I'll get to that shortly. But there's things that aged very fucking horribly in the game, at least in my
Oh
eyes.
no.
So two things. One, little girl. So she looks about 6. She's apparently 15.
Sure.
But the reason she looks like she's 6 is because of, I guess, some like disease in her family or something like that. I forget. But 15. Second problem, the rogue guy is his 90s square writing, which means that if someone's a rogue, they have to be sleazy as balls. Like they just need to hit on everything that moves, maybe even things that don't.
Ah, I heard sneezy at first, so I thought you said sleazy, but I was trying to decipher it in my head for a second there.
No, he's sleazy as balls. He's coming all the time.
Oh no, that's worse.
But yeah, he's very sleazy. He hits on everything and everyone that can be qualified as woman.
Yeah.
And uh, it's it's a thing of like, I get the dashing rogue archetype. Also, could we not write anything other than the dashing rogue archetype for rogues in the 90s?
No, that's impossible.
But yeah, so where was I? Yeah, the problem with this is that I have in my team the horniest man alive, and also a girl who looks like she's 6. And the problem with this is that the first piece of dialogue exchanged between the two in my team was him hitting on her.
Of
You,
course.
like it wasn't like fucking it wasn't him hitting on her directly, but it was pretty bad. Like he's like, man, if only you were 10 years older. But if she was 10 years older, I'm assuming, considering her condition right now, she would only look 15. So that's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that, and then Punch Boy. Turns out Punch Boy is a werewolf, so I chose right.
You chose right.
Yeah,
Yes.
out of the three characters, or out of my list of mistakes with this game, I made at least one choice correctly. But yeah, like I genuinely hate the rogue guy so much that I went back, because at the start you have to choose who's the team leader and who are the supporting characters. I went back to the start of the game just so I can change out who the team leader was. He's that bad. But yeah, as for the team get up, it's weird. So the main DPS and bruiser of the team is the Punch Boy, because he punches things.
Yeah.
Then the rogue guy, he kind of just does magic now. Like I kind of I don't know how it happened, but he kind of just like lays traps and does magic on the side. And then the little girl really worked out as a tank.
Excellent.
Like she doesn't have an overwhelming amount of more health than the other two. At the same time, she still has like 100 more hit points than them, so that's good enough for me. Like considering that she's a healer mage. Otherwise, she can take it. you know,
Yeah.
like I would probably have an easier time tanking stuff with a dedicated tank, or if I chose one of the dedicated tanks on the roster. But it's funnier to me this way. It's funnier for me to just see this little girl walk up to a fucking dragon, and then the dragon punches her and she doesn't flinch.
Yeah. That sounds pretty epic.
It's also funnier now that I've spectre into necromancy, so she just summons ghosts. the only way for this small girl to fucking develop. I also feel like I need to point out that one of the things, like, I feel like this character is hated, or at least in the couple of places I've heard people talk about her, she seems pretty hated because she does the baby speech.
Ew.
But for me, it's funny because I don't know. It's once again, it just adds to the thing of like she's trying to be cutesy. She looks like she's 6. You can't punch her. She will not feel it. But yeah, this also suffers from once again the same problem. I don't really care about these people. Like, you haven't given me a great enough reason to care about these people, and some of that comes down to the fact that the story has to be malleable so that you can choose whichever team get up you want and then have it make sense. But it also kind of doesn't work for me because it's like, okay, so the little girl wants the god weapon so that she can save her grandpa from death. Okay, well, not only her grandpa and also her butler pretty much from death. Okay, cool. The thief guy wants to save his love. That's it. Okay, cool. Punch boy. Punch boy wants to beat up his dad and because his dad killed his dog. Okay, cool. Like, genuinely, the funniest part of him being the team leader is that they're saving the world. They're about to fight God and stuff like that. And he's still like, I still need to go and beat up my dad for killing my dog. That coward. Now that I can punch God, I can also punch my dad.
Levels, you know.
Yeah. But otherwise, like, they tried to make me care about the world, I think, but I don't know if they did a job. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I think you're supposed to be more involved or more invested in the world than you are the characters, and that can work for some people. Like, I'm not saying it can never work, but for me it usually doesn't work because usually I see the world through the people, and so if I don't care about the people, I don't really see the world.
Yeah.
Like, there are some cases where I like the world more than I like the characters in it, or rather, I like the main characters in it, or something like that. Because, like, Star Wars is a weird IP because I'm very fucking tired of it. But when I wasn't tired, I liked some Star Wars stuff just because the world is interesting. So,
Yeah.
there's things that I can enjoy in a way that means that I could enjoy this game in theory at least as well. And I am like, it's a thing of like, I am intrigued somewhat to just see to the end, but I also don't really care that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been listening to other stuff while playing the game because I can read. That's pretty much it. Like, I miss stuff sometimes because I'm more focused on what I'm listening to or whatever. I'm just looking at something, a third thing because whatever, ADHD. But
Yeah.
yeah, and so because of this, I sometimes miss like a sentence. But I feel like it doesn't really, those sentences usually don't really amount to much aside from the one time that I missed the big betrayal, and I was like, hey, the guy who looked like he would betray me betrayed me. Huh? Look at that. But yeah, otherwise, like, I feel like the parts of okay, I think another reason that I don't really care about the characters is because I got turned off of the writing because of the way the rogue guy is written. Might have also contributed. Now that I think about it, and also I think it's also a problem of it's medieval fantasy, and I think I've said like many times that I don't really care
Yep.
about medieval fantasy. So,
Yep.
like, it's somewhat different because at least when it comes to the designs, they take more cues from like Middle Eastern stuff, which is more interesting than just European knights. But
Mm-hmm.
it's still a Middle Eastern setting, so I don't know how much I care. What did I say? It's still a fucking medieval setting. That's what I was trying to say. Brain. Like genuinely, one of the reasons that I put up with Final Fantasy 12 or not 12, Final Fantasy, no, maybe it is 12. Let me check. Yeah, Final Fantasy 12. The reason I put up so for as long as I did with Final Fantasy 12 was because it had a Middle Eastern inspired setting, and that was at least somewhat different, you know.
Yeah.
And the reason I haven't gone back and continued that game is because my save file is on the PS2, and my PS2 doesn't read stuff anymore, and I don't want to go through 30 hours of the tutorial again. Like it legitimately feels like that the part I was in was still the tutorial of the game, and I was like 30 hours in. You'd love Final Fantasy Pink, is what I'm saying.
I don't know that I would.
But this is a genuine problem that I've had with games recently. Like I don't think you were there when I talked about Far Cry. But did you play Far Cry 3?
I remember you talked about Far Cry a couple weeks ago, and I have not played Far Cry 3.
All right. So, you know the scene from Far Cry 3 that got that got people talking about it a lot with Voss, where he's talking about the
Yeah,
definition of insanity.
yeah.
It took until I saw that cutscene that I went, wait, am I not in the tutorial anymore? That's 2/3 into the game, Pink. Like it felt like, well, okay, saying that I thought I was in the tutorial is an exaggeration, but I was like, you know, I need to get farther into the game, and then the game will start getting like, you know, good or stuff like that. And then I reached the cutscene and I went, wait, when is the game getting good? And then it just kind of didn't.
Womp womp.
Yeah, like you weren't here for it last week, but I got into a discussion with Mike and W about Far Cry 3 and 4 in comparison to each other. And I was like, well, I could play Far Cry 4 right now because it's on PS Plus. I'll give it a shot and see how it fares to Far Cry 3 because people say that Far Cry 4 is just such a travesty compared to 3. And I went back. I played like, I want to say, a couple of hours, like maybe 5 at most hours of Far Cry 4. And I was like, yeah, this is Far Cry 3, but with quality of life improvements that matter a lot. So, you know, if you want to argue that Far Cry 4 is just Far Cry 3 again, you're right. But, you know, it's not as bad as people say, because if you like Far Cry 3, then, you know, unless you really like the story, which I don't agree, but, you know, whatever, then Far Cry 4 does the same things, but with some quality of life improvements, such as ammo existing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see, what else did I do? Hmm. Honestly, that might have been it. I don't remember anything else. Well, I did re-download fucking Soul Calibur 6 to give it another chance, and because I fixed my arcade stick, so it's easier to play fighting games now again.
Nice.
But well, okay, fix is a strong word. I have fixed it for the time being. I don't know if it will go bad or not again. But yeah,
Hopefully not.
yeah. So I booted up Far Cry 6. No, not that one. Soul Calibur 6.
Far Cry 6 on a joystick. That sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Uh, so I booted up Soul Calibur 6, and I played a couple of rounds, and I went, man, I don't fucking remember Mitsurugi's moveset anymore, for one. But also, like, there's so many things that they added to, you know, try to modernize the gameplay that are superfluous to me, and stuff like that. I don't know if I enjoy the gameplay even anymore.
Mm.
Like, Soul Calibur 6 has reversal edges, which I don't remember if they were in the other games or not. They might have been, but yeah, I really like using them in Soul Calibur 6, which is why I know they exist and exist now. If they were in the previous games, and reversal edges, Pink, are things where if you get hit, then if you get hit by them, or if you hit the opponent with them, you get sent it into this animation where you need to press an input, and your character will try to do that input. At the same time, that the opponent is trying to do a different input for their character, and then you see if it clashes or not. If it clashes, you just do this until it doesn't clash. And if it doesn't clash, then you see like a close-up animation of your character doing that move. As you'd imagine,
Okay.
this breaks the gameplay flow very hard.
I imagine. That sounds overly complex. I'm not entirely sure I even understand it.
Basically, do you remember? Oh, fuck. Did you play Injustice 1?
No, I did not.
Okay, it definitely was in Injustice 1. I don't know if it was in 2, but do you remember those things where you would have to wager
Yeah,
meter?
yep. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, imagine that, but instead of wagering meter, it's for free. And
Sounds
it
nasty.
can be done anytime.
Sounds nasty.
But
I don't think I like that.
I guess it doesn't do as much damage, but still. Like imagine if every second move from the opponent could just be baiting your attack and then hitting you with that and then breaking the flow of the game. Because that's my
Yeah, I
experience
feel
so
like
far.
that's not great.
That's my experience so far with the game. And then otherwise, let's see. Uh I think I don't know if I told this to W or you. Might have been both of you actually. But I gave the story a chance. It didn't grab me. Like it's kind of a sad thing to say, but it there's too much exposition with not enough actually like with not enough like cutscenes and stuff like that to back it up, really. And like it's a thing of like, well, Soul Calibur 6 was on a budget. That's fine. But there's still nothing particularly once again makes me care about what the fuck's going on anymore. Like I have a vague idea of what happened in 3, but I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
And like past that, I know that Ezio was in 5. That's all the story that I need out of 5. That's all the story that I recognize from 5. I actually do remember. I do genuinely remember 5's story, but I don't want to talk about it. I mean, Pink, did you play Soul Calibur 5?
No, I would have been checked out by 5.
Okay, so
I believe 4 was the last major installment I played at all.
Yeah, I bought 5 because 3 was not available on Xbox. Not even joking. Like the reason I bought 5 was because 3 is not available on the Xbox. Ezio is in it. That's it. And then I made
Fair
that
enough.
I made that Ezio in that game. But yeah, so 5's story is Sophidia's son kills Sophidia's daughter because she is infected with the Soul Edge virus. And
Right.
and then he goes and genocides everyone infected with the Soul Edge virus while also becoming infected himself or something. And that's the story, more or less.
That's the story.
That's all I remember. Like that's genuinely all I remember. At one point, like, okay, well, I was going to say at one point they went this shit sucks. We'll just reset it, but that wasn't in the game. That was real life.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then aside from the reversal edges, super moves are still in. Fucking what else is there? That's it, really. Like those are the big the two big things that I noticed about the gameplay when I went like, I don't really know if I like this. And
Yeah.
like they gave Mitsurugi new moves. I definitely noticed Mitsurugi having new moves. Those were fun. I mean, I don't know how to use them because I'm not used to them, but but everything else is kind of just like bad. And it's the same thing with like Tekken. Because like with Tekken, uh, whenever on the FG on the other podcast we have fighting games are, we bring up, hey, this is what Tekken should remove from the gameplay. Both W and I just go rage, remove rage for fuck's sake. They will never do it, but what we want them to, because rage is a mechanic. If you remember when we played Tekken Tag Tournament 2, you remember your character's glowing red.
Yeah.
So rage is the mechanic that makes your character glow red. It also gives you higher attack power and stuff like that to try and make it up for you for losing. Here's the reason that I hate rage. I hate how it makes the character glows red. That's it. I think it looks like shit in every game, and I don't want to see it. If you just got if you got the attack boost, or and just your character remained the same, I wouldn't care half as much about rage as I do otherwise. Like the attack boost isn't really a big enough difference. Like it can fuck shit up for people. Like if you have like one good combo in you, then you can steal around with it and stuff like that. But whatever. What I really hate is how horrible it looks in every game. It's like it's on purpose. Like just the stinky blood fart gas is emanating off of your character because they got angry. And then Tekken 7 also introduced super moves and stuff like that. So it's just every game now, I guess.
Yep. Yep. Become an industry standard.
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing of like, super moves have been here since Super Turbo, which is like fucking 93 or something like that. I don't remember. So,
Ancient.
yeah, like super moves are not a new thing, but they're a new thing for Tekken. And, it's once again, I think of like, I think we've discussed this with W as well. But they also introduced EX moves in Tekken 7, technically, where you can use your rage meter, or well, you can use your rage state to do a move that's basically just a normal move but better, or you can do a super move out of it. And like the doing a normal move but better makes more sense for Tekken because it's real less people doing real less martial arts in theory.
In theory.
Like there's also a bear and a robot, or five robots actually, and like a
Yeah.
kangaroo, and then
On occasion.
a guy who's died 3 times, and a guy who's died 4 times, and all that. So there's supernatural bullshit in Tekken, but when you look at the fucking second gameplay of Tekken, it usually looks like normal-ish people doing normal-ish moves, and then the super moves just look weird because a lot of them are not framed in a way that justifies them happening as much. Like it's like for example, Miguel has a super move where he punches you in the gut, and then you look at him while he laughs for 5 minutes, and then he punches you in the face and you die.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so how is that gut punch normal punch combo harder than his normal gun punches or normal punches? You know, like
Yeah.
that sort of stuff is why
Yeah.
super moves don't work in Tekken. Like technically, you could argue, well, hey, they had to somehow make sense for the Raging Demon to be in for Akuma, but and the Raging Demon, like the Raging Demon is pretty much the only move that I can think of that makes sense for this, because the Raging Demon is literally just Akuma fucking punches you 1,000 times in a second. Like it's a thing of like even considering the internal logic of Tekken that it should have with this stuff, it makes sense because he's not punching you once; he's punching you 1,000 times. And assuming the speed doesn't diminish his power, then if you get punched 1,000 times, you'll probably die. Yes. But yeah. Anyway, let's see. I'm looking at topics I have saved, or rather, I'm looking at whether or not I saved topics or memes. But I don't know yet, because that's pretty much my week, I believe.
Nice.
Hmm. Like W joked about off recording. W joked about how because I save a lot of stuff for myself on the site like this, and I save stuff for myself, and I also save stuff for the other podcast, and I save stuff for this podcast, which means finding stuff like this is harder because everything is kind of just together.
Yeah.
And he joked that one day I'll just be like, hey, so here's this new topic, gay furry porn, like, which I mean, I don't have gay furry porn saved for one, but I don't know
Yeah.
how. I also don't know how we'd get to that point because like usually I can probably tell when something's on the furry Reddit. Hmm. I believe I can't find anything. I have a couple of memes saved, but it's stuff that W would have an easier time getting because it references like Deep Forest 2 and stuff like that. So
Right.
uh so yeah, I suppose we can call it a podcast then.
Sounds good to me.
All right, think.
Yeah.
I was going to go with eat a car again, but you don't know. I'm not gonna rehash.
we can't do a repeat. I already ate the car. It's
Yeah,
gone.
it's already been digested. Okay, let's up the stakes then. Pink, eat a truck.
Oh no.